Epilogue.
People say, oh, Lamar Jackson is not hated by the media anymore. People love him now. I'll just use one of my favorite quotes. Fake friends are no different than shadows. They stick around during your brightest moments, but disappear during your darkest hours. The media is simply just leveraging off Lamar Jackson's success because he has made them all look stupid this year. And now the media has the Baltimore Ravens as Super Bowl favorites. And you know damn well nobody had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl in the beginning of the season. I mean, it's easy to predict something when you already have 13 wins. But I believe the media is doing this so that if the Ravens fall in the playoffs, they can give Lamar Jackson the harshest critique. In this video, I got 4 opponents. 4 opponents, 4 levels. Let's fight.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Level 1. LeVar Arrington.
So in this segment of Speak for Yourself, the topic is about who had the greatest season ever by a quarterback. Everyone was making points on how Lamar Jackson should be in the conversation for having the greatest season ever by a quarterback. Now, they all made good points except for this guy.
What matters most to me and how it applies to football is winning. And so when I look at greatest seasons ever as a quarterback, the 2 seasons I would look at is the 2017 season with Tom Brady and 2007 and the season with Bob Greasy when was that 78, 60, what is that?
We really gonna do that?
Dolphins, yes.
So he's basically trying to say that Bob Greasy had a better year in 72 than Lamar Jackson had this year. Now, when he said Tom Brady had a better year than Lamar Jackson in 2007, that was more understandable because Tom Brady in 2007 had a nearly perfect season as a quarterback. Now, Bob Greasy, granted, I know he's a Hall of Famer and a legend, but in 72, when the Dolphins had their perfect season, they were not perfect because of Bob Greasy. They were led by Don Shula, Larry Csonka, Mercury Morris, a great offensive line, a great defense. Literally, any quarterback that's slightly above average could have won the Super Bowl with that particular team. Now, Bob Greasy played well in the postseason that year, but in the regular season, he was average. I mean, he threw 4 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. This argument is about who had the greatest season ever by a quarterback. Now, if you want to base it off the postseason, you might as well have said Nick Foles or Doug Williams because they didn't play a full season, but they took their teams to the Super Bowl and won it.
Not Lamar Jackson. If Lamar wins the Super Bowl, then we can have the conversation. He would be at what you would say, 17-2 he would be at if they win the Super Bowl.
So basically, LeVar is saying that in order for Lamar Jackson to be in the conversation for having the best year ever by a quarterback is if he wins the Super Bowl. But then Marcellus retorts by saying, well, Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl in 2007. Then LeVar starts to contradict himself here.
I can have the conversation.
But Brady didn't win the Super Bowl that year.
He did not, but he was 18-1. He lost the last game, but he's one game. I mean, the Super Bowl, I'm not going to say the Super Bowl defines his greatness in that season.
You just said if Lamar wins it, then
that's and I think that's the differentiator.
So then LeVar responds by saying, well, we shouldn't define Tom Brady's greatness in 2007 based on that Super Bowl loss. So you mean to tell me that Lamar Jackson has to win a Super Bowl to define his greatness in what he has done this year? And you see, that is the problem with these analysts. They try to sound too intellectual, and they end up sounding more facetious.
Level 2. Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, I have never heard of this guy before in my entire life until somebody mentioned his name in my comment section, and they told me to put him in my next video. So I looked this guy up, and he is the definition of a fanboy in a suit.
Term play. Cam Newton had one great year, a couple other good years, and a lot of disappointing years, and now he's on the brink of being shipped or maybe being out of the league because it's really hard to pay Cam Newton. He's Cam Newton without all the attitude, without all the arrogance, right? That's what he is.
Well, did he literally just compare Cam Newton to Lamar Jackson? They are not even the same type of mobile quarterback. Cam Newton's mentality is like,
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
And Lamar Jackson's mentality is more like this.
Wanna see me run to that mountain and back? You wanna see me do it again?
I mean, their throwing motion is different. When Cam Newton throws the football, I think of this scene from Matrix. When Cam Newton throws, it looks like he's gathering energy from the ground. When Lamar Jackson throws, I think of that scene from Django.
That's accurate.
I know I'm a little dramatic, but I can literally make a 5-minute video on how Cam Newton is different than Lamar Jackson.
Or slowly allow him to evolve. He went to a team which is a perennial playoff team, and he took over mid-year, and they made the playoffs.
Wow, this dude does not watch football. When Lamar Jackson got drafted to the Ravens were not a perennial playoff team. At that time, the Ravens had missed the postseason for 4 consecutive years. When Lamar Jackson finally started for the Ravens, they were 4-5, and they were on pace to miss the postseason for the 5th consecutive year. When Lamar Jackson, led the Ravens to the playoffs and won a division, that was the Ravens' first divisional title since 2012 when they won their last Super Bowl.
You're going to see Sam Darnold, who should have gone number 1 overall.
Right.
Who end up going to the Jets, right? Mistake by the Giants, mistake by the Browns. Should have gone number 1 overall. I would still, to this day, take Sam Darnold over Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson's likely to be the MVP. Because it's the long-term play, right? I'm not buying short-term, long-term.
You heard that? He said that Sam Darnold is long-term and Lamar Jackson is short-term. I told you in my last video, a lot of people in the media wants Lamar Jackson hurt so that they can prove a point about dual-threat quarterbacks. How can you assume that Sam Darnold will last longer than Lamar Jackson when Sam Darnold has already missed 3 games due to injury last year? Doug Gottlieb is using the pocket passer is more durable than the mobile quarterback theory. Doug Gottlieb sounds like Bill Polian back in the day. Remember in 2012 when Bill Polian said that Andrew Luck will have a longer career than RG3 because Andrew Luck is a pocket passer and RG3 is mobile, so RG3 is more prone to injury. Now you fast forward today and Andrew Luck is retired due to injury. And the funny thing about the media is they blame Andrew Luck's injuries on the offensive line, but when it came to RG3, they blame RG3's injuries because of his athleticism, which is unfair because RG3 also had a bad offensive line. That game against Baltimore, when RG3 hurt his knee, the reason he hurt his knee was because he tried to escape a blitz. Now, had his lineman protected him better, he wouldn't have had to scramble as much. Sorry, Doug, but it's ignorant to assume that Sam Darnold will have a longer career than Lamar Jackson based on your small point of view. And to be truly honest, guys, I actually believe that Lamar Jackson in the future will use his athleticism like Russell Wilson because, Lamar Jackson is a student of the game.
He's a really, really nice kid.
Yes.
But he's not all these other quarterbacks do the quarterback thing where they take over a room.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah,
and he
quiet,
doesn't.
Quiet kid.
Way behind in terms of the whiteboard.
Why is this guy trying to make it seem like Lamar Jackson was a shy kid and he had no confidence when he was a rookie? Man, this guy does not watch football. And I swear he damn sure didn't watch the draft. He just said quarterbacks do the quarterback thing and take over a locker room. Lamar Jackson took the Ravens to the playoffs and earned the respect of his teammates. He is the reason why Eric Weddle wanted to stay in Baltimore.
You can't emulate it. How are you going to practice it? Lamar's the fastest guy on the field. And now you got it. He's an MVP for a reason. For what he's doing, their whole team.
And when it came to draft day, when Lamar Jackson was selected, he was one of the more confident quarterbacks that was picked in the first round.
I'm looking forward to being a Raven.
What are they getting?
Everything out of me. They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Joe Namath, You don't often see a lot of young quarterbacks talk about winning the Super Bowl with that much confidence. So why is Doug trying to make it seem like Lamar Jackson was shy, nervous, and clueless?
The world may never know.
You can't tell me that Cam Newton, who's the biggest, strongest athletic quarterback we've ever seen, his body breaks down at 30, and we can expect Lamar Jackson to be different.
I swear, Doug Gottlieb does not watch football. I mean, man, look at all his takes. Why in the hell is he still comparing Cam Newton to Lamar Jackson? He is literally trying to compare Cam Newton's shortcomings as a mobile quarterback to Lamar Jackson as if LJ will share the same fate. Well, now I'm about to destroy Doug Gottlieb right now. To all of the people watching this video, Cam Newton was not injury prone because he was a mobile quarterback. All of Cam Newton's major injuries came from different circumstances. 3 years ago, Cam Newton tore his rotator cuff trying to make a tackle after he threw an interception against the San Diego Chargers, and his shoulder never healed properly, and you saw the effects last year. Cam Newton in 2014 broke his vertebrae into 2 parts after he had a car accident. That wasn't because he was mobile. Cam Newton's ankle injury did not come from him being mobile and athletic. It came from him being sacked in the pocket against the New England Patriots in the preseason game. Cam Newton was not protected by the referees. Lamar Jackson is protected by the referees way better than Cam Newton ever was.
Runs to the right, tucks inside the 10, and he's hit hard at the 6-yard line.
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, it will be ignorant to assume that Lamar Jackson will share the same fate as Cam Newton because everybody has different circumstances in the NFL and in life. So this was a terrible take by Doug Gottlieb.
Let's also remember, all these Baltimore fans, like, you all missed it. You booed him at home in the playoffs last year. They booed him. That did happen.
Yeah.
Bro, not every Ravens fan and Lamar Jackson fan was at that stadium. Not every Ravens fan across America wanted Lamar Jackson to be benched. Not every Ravens fan and Lamar Jackson fan booed Lamar Jackson. Actually, there were more fans that were upset with the bad play calling by Marty Mornhinweg throughout the first 3 quarters. I'm done with Doug Gottlieb for now.
Level 3, Colin the Coward.
When I started doing this for a living, this broadcasting thing, people said, "Oh, you're just a contrarian. And I said, "No. One of the things in life I really enjoy doing in this business is taking rigid people and stuck in their way guy and never seen it other than their opinion guy and making them go, that's a different way to see the world." I like doing that.
Colin, you are not an avant-garde analyst. You're a go-by-the-book guy. You're the same guy that said you would rather have Sam Darnold over Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield didn't fit the society norms as a quarterback. You're the same guy that said Lamar Jackson is not on Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold's level. If you were this avant-garde analyst, like you're trying to pretend to be, you would favor more underdog players, but you don't. Like I said, you're a go-by-the-book guy.
And he was a hard guy. I saw him and Josh Allen as projects. I thought they'd work. I just thought it would take a while.
This guy is a straight-up liar. You didn't think Lamar Jackson will be any good. You called him Tim Tebow 2.0. You think we forgot?
I have predicted, and I'll say it again, Tebow 2.0 is coming, and it's already starting today. It's Lamar Jackson.
Like I said, you tried to predict Lamar Jackson's shortcomings, just like everyone else did in the media.
Can we stop ripping people because Lamar dropped to late in the first round?
Actually, no. A lot of people were happy that Lamar Jackson got picked in the first round. Some people thought that he was going to be blackballed like Charlie Ward. And for those who were mad, they were mad because they felt that, Lamar Jackson was better than Josh Allen and Josh Rosen.
Does everybody realize the Ravens didn't pick him first? The Ravens drafted a tight end in the first round before him. So if the Ravens were so, oh my God, we knew this was going to... They drafted a backup tight end before him. They didn't even get the tight ends right.
No, the Ravens drafted Hayden Hurst because Hayden Hurst was a top 5 tight end. And they knew that if they got Lamar Jackson first, they wouldn't have gotten Hayden Hurst. So the Ravens wanted 2 players. They wanted a tight end and a quarterback. And they knew that no other team was going to take a chance on Lamar Jackson, so they picked Lamar Jackson last. It was a draft strategy. Brandon Beane, the GM for the Buffalo Bills, he said in an article that he would sometimes have other meetings with other NFL GMs just to get an idea of what they are drafting. Best believe the Ravens did the same thing. The Ravens organization knew that Lamar Jackson was going to be good. You, Colin, you didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to be good, but just because you thought that, don't put the Ravens in the same boat. In my opinion, it seems like the Ravens organization had been trying to look for a dual threat quarterback for a long time. I mean, they had Steve McNair for a short stint. Then they drafted Troy Smith. But Troy Smith lost the starting job to Joe Flacco because Troy Smith had a rare illness. And once Joe Flacco became the starter, he never looked back. Then the Ravens drafted Tyrod Taylor. But then John Harbaugh said that he was disappointed in Tyrod Taylor's development. Then you fast forward years later, they get RG3. Then after, they get Lamar Jackson. And, the Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson because he had great intangibles and he was coachable.
Game doesn't overwhelm Lamar. In fact, he's overwhelming the game. And some of this is because he played quarterback in high school for 3 years. He started and he got 25, 26 starts in. And then he went to college and he played early and he got 35 college starts in. So he's been playing quarterback for a long time.
What the hell is this guy talking about? He said that Lamar Jackson has played a lot of high school football and a lot of college football, and he's using that as an excuse to say, that's why Lamar Jackson is calm, cool, and collective, because he has a lot of experience. But there are a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, if you do your research, that played a lot of high school football and college football, and some of them are backup quarterbacks in the league. So why in the hell does Colin make this point?
He defines what a franchise quarterback. A lot of guys are fast. That doesn't mean you're a franchise quarterback. It's the maturity. Franchise quarterback's not just about, man, he's got a big arm. Wow, he's fast.
Oh, now it's not about having the big arm or being the most athletic, because you guys damn sure made it seem that way before Lamar Jackson got drafted. You guys didn't care about his intangibles. You guys didn't care about, that he was humble and coachable. You guys never watched Lamar Jackson at Louisville, because everything he has done in the NFL so far, he did in Louisville. And what makes it so bad was Louisville was a terrible team, and Lamar Jackson basically carried that team on his back. How to be a hypocrite 101. Be a Colin Cowherd.
Level 4, Boss Level, Stephen A. Smith.
Before I start this roast, there are a lot of people in my comment section that say, well, the only reason Stephen A. hates Lamar Jackson is because he's a Steelers fan. Well, to me, that's BS, because I have a lot of Steelers fans that are subscribed to my channel and they love Lamar Jackson. Plus, I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan and I like Drew Brees. I like Cam Newton, and they play in the same division as the Buccaneers. Stephen A. is supposed to be an analyst. An analyst is supposed to analyze with facts and logic, not with their emotions. I am actually shocked that Steelers fans actually associate themselves with Stephen A. because Steelers fans, they're pretty passionate. They love their team no matter what. Stephen A. is more of a fair weather fan. I mean, when Ben Roethlisberger got injured, look at what Stephen A. had to say.
Stephen A. Oh.
Before you even, soon as we heard this, Stephen, we were off the air.
Steelers season's over. So,
Yeah.
they're not going to playoffs. The Ravens will win this division. Mason Rudolph, I'm supposed to believe in him. I know 12 and 19 yesterday. What was it, 112 yards, 2 TDs, interception. Am I supposed to get excited about Mason Rudolph? So
he's really sad right now.
I mean,
it was over before the injury. Tell him.
No. I knew they weren't going to win the Super Bowl, but I still thought that they had a playoff run in them. That's over. Steelers season's over.
The Pittsburgh Steelers played way better than most people expected without Ben Roethlisberger. And believe it or not, they're still in the playoff race. I mean, they're not eliminated yet. But Stephen A. gave up on his team before the year even started. He looks more like Skip Bayless to me, throwing jerseys in the garbage every time his team don't perform well. Now let's get to the roast. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Lamar Jackson destroyed the New York Jets, and he broke Michael Vick's rushing record, and he threw 5 touchdown passes in the same game, despite the media telling him to rest because he had a quad injury. So mind you, Lamar Jackson wasn't even fully healthy, and he did all of that. But this is what Stephen A. had to say about it.
He was all right. I mean, look, he's all right. Look, guys, look the way I'm saying. He's all right. It's Thursday night against the Jets. The Jets ain't good when you give them 14 days to prepare. How the hell they gonna do when you? How the hell they gonna be when you give them 4 days to prepare? I mean, really?
You see, he was like, "Oh, it's just the Jets," but in that same week, the Falcons beat the 49ers, and the Packers almost lost to the Redskins, a game that they were supposed to dominate. Sometimes bad teams, they play the good teams a little better because they have nothing to lose. What the Ravens did to the Jets is what you're supposed to do against bad teams. You're supposed to annihilate them. Now, Stephen A. Smith was not impressed with Lamar Jackson after he threw 5 touchdown passes, broke Vic's record in a short week on an injured quad. But this is where Stephen A. Smith is a hypocrite, because on Monday Night Football, in the beginning of the year, when Aaron Rodgers beat the Detroit Lions by 1 point, this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
Get to the football element here. Did you see those dime passes that Aaron Rodgers threw to Scantling, to the Lazard? I mean, Lord have mercy.
He did look nice.
That bad man just showed up last night and reminded y'all, excuse me, you must have forgot.
Now, mind you, the Packers only won that game by 1 point. The Lions, they don't have the best defense in the NFL. Plus, that wasn't even Aaron Rodgers' best game. You know, Stephen A. Smith reminds me of Steven from Django. And it's funny because their names are actually spelled the same way. But if you watch the movie Django, why did Steven hate Django? Because Django was free, he was unorthodox, he didn't fit society norms. Why does Stephen A. Smith hate Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson, he plays his own style, he's unorthodox, he doesn't fit the society norms as a quarterback. If Lamar Jackson does get to the Super Bowl, Stephen A. is going to be like,
who this nigga up on that name?
Flew up through the clouds at night, was born to find mythical, so mystical, think what you like. You could be the sword, the shield, defender of the people down below. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. Be kind to those around you, don't be merciless. Remember me, for my name is Perseus.